Hey, it's Jess. I am 5 weeks tomorrow out for my tummy tuck. Yeah, 5 weeks tomorrow. And yeah, so a lot has changed since I last made my video. A week ago Friday, I went to the ER. I went to for my regular scheduled appointment to my doctor, and they gave me 3 different kinds of antibiotics and some Percocet and stuff, and said come in if anything worsens. And I had just for a little rehash, I had 2 drains, 1 in each groin. 1 was stinky and foul. I had infections in my drains, 3 infections on the outside. So that's where we are. So then my fever goes up to 102, and I go into the ER on Friday, and the head of surgery, who's like my surgeon's boss, happened to be there, and he pulled out one of my drains because he said it couldn't pull any more fluid for as infected as it was. So it really hurt coming out, and it bled a whole lot. But immediately I felt like it was something that needed to come out, like a big splinter. Like, it would be really painful to get this big splinter out, but you would, really need it. So, fine. They send me on 3 or 4 antibiotics and send me home. So then they told me to follow up on Monday with my doctor's office. So I did, and my surgeon is on vacation, so I followed up with his physician's assistant, his PA, and she didn't know whether to take the other drain out or not because, I have this stuff that's pooling on the inside, and I keep getting these CT scans, and the CT scan results keep saying, Jess is pooling on the inside, but my drains are infected, so you can't, it's difficult to pull, fluid with, infected drains apparently, but the infection is like this cesspool of bacteria, and so you can't have this fluid in you because it's just begging for an infection. So that was Friday, and then I went with I had an appointment with, they told me to follow up with my doctor or whatever. So on Monday morning I get a 3-way call from the head of surgery and my surgeon's physician's assistant and a nurse or something, I don't know. And so I get a 3-way call at home from these people, and in risk of sounding callous, I have TRICARE, which is Army insurance. My husband's an active duty soldier, and we're at Fort Carson, Colorado, which is beautiful. But as far as health insurance comes, it's kind of the cheap seats. I mean, that the insurance is free, and the prescriptions are completely free, and the hospitalizations are completely free. You don't pay for the insurance, you don't pay for anything. However, it's the cheap seats that you also should, come to expect that you're going to be treated like you're on Medicaid or Medicare or something. It's kind of, second-rate care, sort of. So I knew that if they were calling, if the head of surgery and my doctor's physician's assistant and some nurse were calling me on a 3-way call at home, I knew that something wasn't quite right. So they told me to come in a few hours, like 3 or 4 hours from then, and to be prepared to be hospitalized if I wasn't doing any better, and not to take any of my Percocet or any Tylenol or anything that would reduce my fever. So I went in, and I was all like shivery cold and wearing a sweatshirt, and it was like 90 degrees here, but my temperature was like 101 or 102, I don't know. So they admitted me right there, and so they put me on, they said it was a gorilla antibiotic, vancomycin. So I got a really strong, like 15 bags of this really strong antibiotic, and then some oral stuff too. And the problem is that the vancomycin, I think it's called, the antibiotic, it blows your veins. So you feel it start to burn, and then you start to have a big puddle, like a huge mosquito bite next to the IV. Well, they blew 7 veins, and so I was in the hospital from Monday to Friday, and that sucked. And I still have some. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. There's one. You see now? I don't know how to get the right angle there. But in case, oh wait, you can see it there. It's just all over both of my arms, you know. Oh, and so are my bingo wings. So, oh yeah, and so the other drain, I was sitting in my hospital room Tuesday night, and I went up to go to the bathroom, and I sat in my bed, hello, and my ankle caught on my drain, which is not unusual, and it gave it a big tug, a big pull, but that happens a lot, and it hurts, and then I look, and it's always okay. But, like, this much of it was out, and I looked, and, like, my hole is the size of a, I don't know, it's like little, because it's just one little tube that goes in, but, you know, on the inside I didn't know that it was like the size of like a dime or a quarter, and it was like, the big part was out, and I had stitches that were holding the thing in, and the stitches just pulled through my body like a warm knife through butter, and I had to sit there until they'd get authorization to pull the rest of it out, and it was way terrible. But once it came out, I felt a lot better. However, once it came out, there was no longer any way to remove my pooling fluid, and so something had to be done because the pooling fluid, again, is my problem. So then I had to have drains put in just with local, or one drain put in with local anesthesia, which I fought because I felt like that was more of a like conscious sedation procedure, and I was like begging for some Valium or something, like throw me a bone for Christ's sake. But they said, you know, Jess, you're a big fat pansy, you don't need Valium or anything for that matter, we're just going to do local anesthetic. So that was really extra special because it hurt like a son of a bitch. So yay, 2 big thumbs up for Army healthcare. So then finally, after they blew the 7th vein, I told them that they weren't allowed to give me any more IVs because I'd been very patient, and it clearly wasn't working. And they even got this guy who like does pediatric IVs from the ICU or ER or something, and that was my longest one, and it lasted like 7 hours or something. So I'm back home from the hospital. Oh, yeah, here's the biggie. I have a staph infection, and I have staph on the inside, which is a, what do you call that, Shani? Like a, what's a staph infection? It's like a, Staphylococcus bacteria, which is I think it's some kind of a, like a, antibiotic resistant something or other. I don't know. But, you know, I feel okay. You know, for a while there I was, like, drenched in pools of sweat and, like, hot, and cold, and, like, you know, I don't feel any of that anymore. So, like, I'm thinking that the antibiotics worked. Although I think I'm on 3 antibiotics at home for another 4 weeks. So, I'm really hoping that I don't have the... Apparently there's 2 kinds. There's one that's just... antibiotic resistant, and then there's one that like you can't do anything with antibiotics, and then they just have to like open you up and like you know, wash it out with like, you know, mini power washers or something. I don't know. So yeah, so I was in the hospital for a week. I'm home. I went swimming today. I didn't go swimming. I went to the splash park with my little men, and so I'll show you my bathing suit and my stuff here. I'm looking pretty good in the bathing suit, if I do say so myself. Let's see. Although my husband thinks I've changed now that I'm fat. Not fat. But here we go.